back on the check-in, back on the check-in, back on the check-in. So I wanted to talk to you guys first of all about one story that happened last night. Emphatically, that was funny as hell to me. Was right when I got offline with you guys, and unfortunately, my battery was going dead already. Even though I had the charger plugged up to the phone, it's still YouTube to stream. It takes a lot. So anyway, let me tell y'all what happened. So last night, first of all, let me encourage everybody. Make sure y'all hit up the Cash App, $ STRINGERBELL80. That's Stringer Bell 80 on Cash App. Yes, we are promoting myself. You know what I mean? All right, so check this out. Last night when I got on the train, as you guys remember, I got off and I went live. Now, there was nobody down there, as y'all could see, y'all could feel. There was nobody down there whatsoever. But there's a station upstairs with the cops, right? What's going on, Kira? So as I'm streaming to you guys last night, and mind you, this is like 4 o'clock in the morning. As I'm streaming to you guys, there's actually 2 cops sitting there at the steps listening to everything I'm saying. Now, at first I only saw the white cop, you understand? But then he went upstairs and evidently he got a black cop as well. So right when I got offline with you guys, or whatever the case may be, peace of chat, right when I got offline with you guys, right? Him, like this perfectly timed, him and the black cop came downstairs. They stood right in front of me because they were wondering, I guess, why I'd been down there so long and I was, chatting and streaming and everything like that or whatever. So they were trying to make a mix of it. Why is this guy down here in the train? Well, I'm down here because I'm getting ready to catch the train, doofy. And if you just look at the board right there that you're standing under, you will see that. I wasn't upset about the black police officer. I mean, the white police officer. No. And this is why I want to have this conversation. I wasn't upset with the white police officer. He was just doing his job. People come down there and they sleep. People come down there and they shoot up drugs, all kinds of stuff, right? So I get that. It was the approach of the black officer because he was in a mostly black and Latino neighborhood. So he didn't say anything to me specifically. No, he didn't say anything to me. I think he felt kind of some fear because I kept mentioning Connecticut in the broadcast and everything like that. But what he did was he tried this intimidation tactic with me. And so I was like, I'm the raw guy to try to intimidate, And I don't have to intimidate you physically because I'm going to lose that because you got a gun. But what I will do is I will drag you through court for the next 2 years and make sure you lose your job, make sure you lose your benefits, make sure you never work in that profession again in any state. I will make sure of that. You understand? Now I go to every defamation league. I'll be on CNN. This is terrible, terrible police brutality and mental anguish. I need help. Please believe that. Now, this was a funny thing. The way he tried to intimidate me was he was sitting there and he kept doing these little stares or standing in front of me, trying to see if I would jitter or shake or whatever. Homie, I'm here waiting for the train. But the problem I had was he tried to make it into kind of like a street thing. See, this wasn't a professionalism like from a police officer. This was something different. This was like a street motherfucker that had ended up becoming a police officer. And that's what I want to talk about. You have a lot of people from these minority cultures, all different ones, Indian, Bangladeshi, Asian, you name it, right? In New York City and the tri-state in particular. They get these jobs as police officers or whatever the case may be, and they choose to invoke their strength on the culture. Now, this police officer last night, he kept circling around me. He kept trying to scare me or whatever, and I'm thinking to myself, this is a black police officer. Well, you think it's just me, right? There was a song made by KRS-One. I remember as I was growing up, it's called Black Cop. Anybody remember that song? And in the song, he detailed everything that I'm telling you guys right now. And this happens across the country. If you go to Chicago and you ask the Chicago kids who bothers them more than anybody, I guarantee you they'll tell you it's black cops. If you go to New York City and you ask them who bothers you the most, they'll guarantee you they'll tell you black cops. And they're more heinous when they bother you than the white cops are. Now, you guys have seen me in interaction with cops several times on this camera. And each time I'm in interaction with them, it's always been peaceful. Always been peaceful. What's going on? That it's always been peaceful. The problem I see is, and I've seen, and I want you guys to start looking this up because nobody puts out the numbers. Start looking at police brutality cases involving black police officers. I want somebody to take that premise and I want you to roll with it. I'm giving you the opportunity right now. I want you to roll with that on your podcast. Look up police brutality incidents involving black and Latin police officers. And I want you to report to the people the numbers. This is why I'm talking about this, because it wasn't no fear in my heart whatsoever. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not going to get into an argument with you because I'm not going to win. I'm not going to curse you out unless I absolutely have to. But I will curse in front of you, which is my legal right to do so. That's why you heard me cuss out that chick on the train when she tried to turn up that time. I'm telling you guys this. I think there needs to be a different precedence. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by this. Ask any of your family members that live into what you would call, I don't know, I don't want to say ghetto neighborhood, but a hood across the country. Ask them in their neighborhood, ask your family members, if you got any live in the hood, ask them who bothers them the most. Is it black cops or white cops, or is it equal? And I guarantee you, they will tell you, 9 times out of 10, their interactions that they had always are more heinous, a lot of times with black cops. A lot of times, blacks and Latins turn up on the cops because they think they're going to get the same reaction they get from a black or Latin officer, sad enough to tell you. Oh, it's nothing like having an interaction with them. Nothing. I remember one time, even or someone that thinks they're in the equivalent of them. I remember one time I was in CVS and I asked a guy what a product was in the store. He says, "I'm store security." And I'm thinking to myself, well, what does that mean? Because you're about like 40 something. It's a power of domination. And I keep telling you guys about this. This is what you're really fighting against. You're fighting against domination. Someone trying to taste dominion over you in a stature and a manner where they control you. And that's what this man was trying to do. And instead of using that, he wouldn't have went to a white neighborhood and did that. He wouldn't have came here and done that. Instead of going to a white neighborhood and doing that, he does it on his own people because he's scared to do it. And I guarantee you there wouldn't be a black officer that would walk over to Greenwich, Connecticut, that would walk over to Stamford, Connecticut, that would walk over to any of the opulent areas we have here in Connecticut and turn around and stare down a white person of any dressing, background, or whatever, because they're scared. And nor would a Latin officer. They would chuckle and jive and chuckle and laugh and be overly pleasant more than though so they have to with that white or with that white person. And there's a reason behind that because it's conditioning that they have from growing up. That's what I'm trying to tell you. A lot of these cops that they're hiring that are black and Latino grew up in rough environments, still live in rough environments in many cases that they live in New York City because they can't afford to move anywhere. And so what happens is these people develop an attitude and a personality where they want to place dominion over their own people because they feel that will make them look better in the light. It's very narcissistic. But they basically believe if they control you and correct you and better the neighborhood by force, and in some cases, the most extreme cases, they can't possibly beat you, brutalize you, murder you, whatever the case may be. As a black or Latin police officer, they have done a tremendous deed for the neighborhood. This is how a lot of these, not all of them, but a lot of them think. And I know this from my whole life living basically in a lot of rural, suburban neighborhoods, and whenever they got a black cop, it was always a black cop that wanted to turn up. It was always a Latin cop that wanted to turn up. So I started saying to myself, I said, well, there's something here. There's something here. And I found it. It's dominance. They want to demise and demise you more and more and more through force and pluck and pick through the ones that they feel are righteous to stay amongst yourselves. This is narcissism. Sad enough to say, a lot of people online, they're doing the same work of these same type of people. This is a mentality. It could be, I'm not explaining it. It can be executed by anybody. It doesn't have to be executed just by a cop. It's a mentality. And I'm telling you, a lot of these black cops, including the experience I had, I said, if you did that with me, and I had a ticket in my pocket, a receipt for my ticket, and you can see on the board that the next train comes at 5:46, and if you just wanted to know if I had a ticket, you could have asked me. But instead, you try to do this thing when you are, I call it, what my uncle called it one time, that's my mom's uncle too, jitterbugging. You wanted to jitterbug around me and shucky juck and, hey, I'm the head nigga, I'm the head, Negro in charge over here, type of stance or whatever that many black men take. And they only take that stance, and Latin men, they only take that stance amongst each other. They won't never do that with a white person. They're scared. I keep reiterating they scared because they are scared, because if you wasn't scared, you would have been and done it. I've never, in my time being in the music industry, my time living in nice neighborhoods and all that, ever been a bootlicker or a kiss ass. I never have. I shouldn't have cursed right there, but I've never have. And any of my friends that are Italian, the Greek, they'll tell you the same thing. I've never been a bootlicker. I've argued with them. I've cursed them out. I've corrected them, whatever, whatever. The mentality of a lot of these guys, and this is why I say this all the time, being somebody that grew up like that, is that you have a lot of these guys that get these jobs and they didn't grow up in neighborhoods like that. They grew up in very rough neighborhoods. They grew up in very rough environments. They grew up in environments where there was no conditioning, no control, no, nothing. And I'm talking about the worst of worst neighborhoods. And then you put them in a position where they have all that anguish, all that built up frustration and everything else, and then they try to put it into a job. And it just doesn't work out. It doesn't work out for the police department because many times these guys are charged with some type of brutality amongst black people, and they're black and Latin itself, amongst Latin people, and they're black and Latin itself. Look up the numbers, and I challenge any vlogger to look up the numbers, and I don't care what you think, how low they are, how high they are. I want you to report them. Report those numbers to the people and tell them how many nationwide, how many black and Latin police officers have been accused or convicted or had judgment put against them because of brutality. And you might be surprised. And I'm not saying that, excuse me, I'm putting some Vaseline on my lip. I'm not saying that picking either or side or whatever. For real, I'm one of the Wayne people to be on here and say sometimes it's just good goddamn police work. But in this instance, it wasn't. And I want to see more of this. I want you to start taking some of these inner city cops, because that's what they are. I want you to start taking some of them and putting them in suburban neighborhoods. And I want you to take the best of I want white cops that have grown up in inner cities, or not necessarily inner cities, but grown up around minorities. And I want to see these people, exact same thing. I want to see some of them fluctuated into the white neighborhoods, black neighborhoods. And the reason I say that, y'all might say it sounds crazy, is because they have a different type of conditioning, very different type of conditioning versus a lot of these black and Latin cops. It seems like they just go after black men in particular. I don't know if y'all saw that video not too long ago. Well, I think it was in Atlanta. And the black woman, she hadn't really did nothing but run her mouth, but she ran her mouth a little bit too much. I'm moving over here so I get some more light. But the cop, black cop, which was a big burly dude, he slammed her on the ground and arrested her. And it happens a lot more than y'all think it does. A lot of these black cops out here and Latin cops are doing the worst of the worst to your children. And I never, the lady on the train when I got into it with her, and many of y'all remember the story, I don't feel like revisiting it right now, but I got in an argument with a conductor on the train. And it was about some silly stuff, something that she would have never started the argument with somebody of another culture. And I remember very vividly, I asked her this question. I said, you got a son probably that looks like me, right? Or a nephew or something like that. I said, how would you feel if somebody was speaking to them like that? And I also reiterated to her, I said, white people don't talk to me like that. So what makes you think it's okay for you to talk to me like that and you, or within the same diaphragm, the same culture as I am? See, what you're missing is a lot of these folks don't even know how to interact with each other. What happens is most of the time when you get I'm gonna tell you from experience, because the first thing they think until they hear me speak Spanish or until, like they see Spanish people recognize me, but they're not recognizing them or whatever the case may be, because some Latinos are funny like that. But what they'll do is, the first thing they do is they'll start this jitterbugging, I'm taking my uncle's words again, and they'll start shucking and jucking or, showing off cash or moving back and forth, doing all these unnecessary movements and weird, like really weird peacock type of, behavior that usually you would see in a woman versus a man. I've had men, even last night when I was waiting on the train, I had a man that kept trying to vie for my attention. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? As y'all couldn't see it because the camera was turned, as the train was getting closer and closer to leaving off, there was more and more people showing up. There was another man that stood right in front of me and did whatever. It's very confrontational a lot of times when men of color meet. And that one man is jealous or envious or whatever the case may be, even if they're a police officer. That's the point I'm trying to get at. Sorry it took a long road to get there, but that's what it's about. Very confrontational. Don't let people, especially a lot of these men online, fool you when they say, oh, my brother, hey, my brother, and all these. I know a blogger right now who his main mantra is, don't call me brother. He'll get upset and hang up the phone on you. Shout out to Troy Serrain. He'll shut the whole thing down and hang up the phone on you, like for real. Y'all give me 1 second. I'm gonna button up my jacket. It's getting a little chilly out here. he'll hang up the phone on you if you're on a live call. And I really support him for doing that, because more people need to do that. Y'all, a lot of y'all need to hang up on your callers and everything else, because the callers you guys got, give me 1 second, guys, I'm just zipping up my jacket. The callers you guys got on your lives and stuff, they're terrible. I mean, they're some of the worst people you could ever think of. Sorry about that, guys. I had to zip my jacket up real quick. But they're some of the worst people you can ever think of. They come in and they say any kind of thing they want to. They make fun of you, whatever the case may be. But I just wanted to throw that in there, because that was my experience last night, and that's the upteenth time I've had that happen, where it hasn't been a white cop, because y'all have seen my interactions with white cops. Y'all have seen it on camera. You know what I mean? And I know a couple of y'all like, maybe what he's saying is the truth. Yeah, it's not a certain, nothing's a certain. But yeah, I grew up around them. That's why I'm telling you this. Sometimes you're better off taking black cops and putting them instead, what they think the end result is going to be is that you'll be able more to relate. Let me get into that so y'all understand what I'm saying. They think you'll better relate with these black officers put in there, or these Latin officers put in there. But what happens is these Latin and black officers are going into these Latin and black neighborhoods looking for blood. They're looking for blood. Not all of them, but I'd say about 60% of them. 60% of them hate themselves, and they've never overly admitted it. They hate the environments they come from. They hate the environments they live in now. They hate the fact that they're not making money or whatever. And a lot of white cops feel the same. This is why a lot of cops are the highest for brutality against their wives and spouses. Now, how do I feel about that? I'll put it on this side. In a domestic violence case, most smart women, they call the police, right? But the same police officer could be home beating his wife and stay on duty for years, and the police force know about it and never terminate or get rid of that officer. See what I mean? So these people exist, they're violent. Not only are they violent, they're terrible people that initiate conversations, initiate investigations from a speculative form based on the fact of someone's color when you happen to be the same color. I don't see what your worth is in the black and Latin communities if that's your intention, to go in and wreak havoc. So you're replacing the havoc that's already there with your own wreck of havoc. Who you supposed to be? Joe Clark? Lean on me? You know what I mean? Like, who are these people? And I think if more and more, and I'm gonna give y'all a suggestion before I leave this alone. If you come into a confrontation or interaction that is less than savory, and you are black or Latino, and that officer is black or Latino, what I suggest you do is, 1, report that motherfucker. That's for 1. 2, the second thing you should do is go to your local constituency, whether that be the mayor, whether that be the governor, but start at the police captain. Then after that, the police sergeant, and make a formal complaint against them. And then collectively go through your neighborhood and see if anybody else has had interaction with that black or Latin officer that has been unsavory. You all get together, you go down first to the police cars, and you say, listen, no, we're dead serious. If they don't believe you, then, and I wanted you to hold this in mind. Y'all remember that time in the movie Malcolm X, when Malcolm went down to the police station and he had hundreds of men with him. I can't even keep count of how many men he had with him from the nation. And he stood in front of that police station after the police had beat that man, his brother of theirs. And he said to them, we want to know, I forgot what his name was, how brother so-and-so is, and if he's here. We don't have any record of him being here, the police officer said in the movie Malcolm X. He said, you see, look out that window. I suggest you look out that window, because the man that then threatened to lock him up. That's why I said these tactics are old. They're using the same tactics they've been using for 50, 60 years, the same thing in the military that the cops use. Crooked cops, they use them to their advantage at the extreme to manipulate you. So, in the movie, Malcolm X, the biography with Denzel Washington, he tells him, he says, look out the window. And there's hundreds of men standing out there from the Nation of Islam. It was a beautiful day. Oh, it was fucking beautiful. It was beautiful. The timing on it couldn't have been better. Shout out to Spike Lee for that in real life, how it happened as well. And he looked out that window, he saw all those men out there, whatever. He had no choice. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Your reluctantness to report people, or being scared, or your fear factors that you have individually, some of y'all raised on, are some of your biggest proponents in your advocacy. And some of your biggest issues in your advocacy, not following through. You have to follow through. See, let's give for example. If I told you I was coming to get you tomorrow, right? Translate that however you mean. You can either be presumptuous and think that I'm not, or you could be aware and say, well, there's a possibility, or you could be in the know and know it's a fact. So, it depends on where your contingent thought process is or whatever. What I mean through is you gotta always figure that the opponent is gonna follow through with whatever they're trying to place in front of you. So it's up to you to put in the full effort of what the opponent is going against and fight it for whatever best part of your ability you can. So you go down to police office station with at least 50 to 60 signatures. And from there, you let them know you mean business. Next, you go to the mayor and you demand to get those police officers put out of that neighborhood. I don't think it's conducive with the behavior that's in this neighborhood. And I think he brings an element of, I think this police officer brings an element of aggressiveness. I think this police officer brings an element of shame. I don't think he's someone we can trust in our neighborhood, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And don't do this for black officers, do it for white ones too. But I'm telling you, if you get one of those types. Now, I'm not saying be at extreme, and this is the other thing you have to do too. Every little bump and shove or every little, this is what you got to cut out, because when you do that, you dissipate your chances of getting something across here. So every little bump and shove, every little, oh, well, Pookie was out there selling crack, but they slammed him on the ground. I say to hell with Pookie. Pookie, you handle that on your own. You've been handling it on your own over 17 other arrests you had. You'll be all right on this one. This is another bump in the road for you, Pookie, Mario, Jimmy, Ken, you know what I mean? So the fork in the road for you. You say whatever to that one, and you put it on serious situations that happen, like the woman in Texas that was murdered. I forgot what her name is, but they said say her name as a campaign. God bless her. Serious situations like Freddie Gray, serious situations like Trayvon Martin, serious situations like Michael Brown, people like that. You put the preponderance of energy into cases like that, where there's no denial. With or without the video, we know what happened. See, the certainty cases. When you have a preponderance of the small cases, what happens is the big cases, they get in the way of the big cases. Then they get in the way of, judicial systems, payouts, things like that. We want to see these families that lost their kids to police brutality. We want to see them get the most. We want to see them get the most, in my opinion. So, but the Pookie was out there selling crack, and Pookie got caught up, and Mario was out there shooting a needle up under his arm, or Ken was out there and he was sniffing methamphetamines. I'm not going to support that. You know what I mean? I don't give a damn if the police whooped it. Maybe he needed the police to beat him, so he'll stop doing that. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about innocent people. Like when I say Freddie Gray, like when I say Michael Brown, like when I say Trayvon Martin, or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to tell you guys, your power is in your continuously advocating, not partially advocating, and then once the situation has been eradicated to your surmise, mostly via the media, and what people's perception is not what you think people's perception is of the situation, and what it actually is two different things. You think sometimes you made a win, and I think some of these black vloggers and Latin vloggers need to start telling y'all this. And if they won't tell you, I'll tell you. A lot of times y'all think y'all took a win, when in reality y'all took a fall. I'm gonna say that for you again. A lot of times y'all think y'all took a win, but in reality y'all took a fall. The fall was you just put forth another. See, everything's about perception. So to get a real win, you have to have the dying perception of people. You understand? You can't just have the perception of a few and they be within your own demographic. So meaning like, okay, you got the perception and everybody agrees with you in the black and Latin community, right? They say, yo, that's terrible. That's terrible, whatever, whether it's issues at the border, whether it's, somebody in the corner getting their tail whooped for no reason, whatever it may be, right? So you take that in consideration and you say amongst your communities, okay, that's a travesty, that's a problem, we all agree, blah, 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 right? But what is the perception of the other people that are viewing what's going on, and they're saying to themselves, oh my God, there's another one complaining again. Oh my God, there's some more at the border again trying to get into the country. Oh my God, this, that, and other, and the third. Oh my God, oh my God. You'll have these people do that because of pure simple fact they don't care about you. They don't care about your advocacies or anything else or whatever. So you're celebrating within the own prism of your own people, the own demographic of your own. Nobody else is celebrating. You have a couple coattail, and I hate to say it like this, coattail whites that will celebrate, but they'll celebrate because they had a victory in the judicial system, or they want a victory and it's for a partner in some other, one of their constituencies, maybe in there, you know, meaning like it'll be a congressman, a senator, a lawyer, state representative, something like that. You always find them attached to stories like this because of pure simple fact. It makes them look good for the next bid for re-election. So that's all I wanted to talk about with that. Now, the second thing I wanted to talk about was something real quick that was real personal to mine. And it's about but it deals with the culture. Shout out to Kendrick Lamar for that. Last night as well, and I took a screenshot of it. So I'll put it up in the community section just like the other one. We're going to start exposing these folks. Last night when I was doing my live with you guys or whatever, somebody went to a video I had that was 2 years old. This is how silly these people are. Yes, 2 years old. And it had Jaguar Wright in the title. And this was a video I did in Manhattan. And I had my bad boy jacket on. If you click my profile, it's the first video that comes up. So y'all can go look for yourself and you'll see that video is 2 years old. As of today, 2 years old. And so the person wrote, oh, you trying to use Jaguar Wright name to get some popularity? No, I'm the popularity. Listen, I think we need to be very, very clear here. My video that I put up and the video subsequently I put up, I have probably like 6 or 7 videos where I didn't have to mention the Jaguar Wright, and those videos got 100,000 views. And you wasn't screaming about Jaguar Wright or promoting Jaguar Wright or supporting Jaguar Wright like I was. Now I'm gonna break this down. I don't know if it's because Jaguar has recently become popular again or whatever. I told her it's a trick. It's a trick. But she became more popular again, you know, and I'm glad for her. I think for all the wrong reasons, but nevertheless, she's popular again. So since the fact that 2 years ago I put up videos about her, subsequently I think I put up maybe one of the latter date that she had did with somebody or another. I put up a little quick clip and I was excited then. I was like, yo, she's back. And then I noticed she was gossiping again. And I said, you know, I had my thoughts about that or whatever. But I wish no L on this woman. Like I said, once again, she's part of our accolade. She's a musician. I'm a musician. I worked for a music company for 17 plus years and still affiliated with that music company. So I don't know exactly what this little subgroup in black culture that I've seen, and Latin culture too. They're extremely theoretic in everything that they present, meaning like they have theories about everything but can prove nothing. They have speculations about everything but can prove nothing. They wait for certain moments when things happen and they might translate into one of their theories and speculations, and they have to weave and convince you of that. Now, I'm not saying that's what Jaguar Wright do. I'm saying people that tend to pay attention to her branding of things and the way she goes about things. And I don't want to give that a moniker or a title, because like I said, I'm trying to be fair here. She is one of our accolades. But wait a motherfucking minute. Y'all taking it too far. Now, I could pull a cannon out right now if I wanted to, and I could destroy her whole following. They need help. Homeless America, God blood. They need help. Homeless. Get homeless and draw people off the street. Kensington stats. You handle that in Kensington. This ain't the channel for that. But people, you see what I mean? People want to come and advocate on your channel or whatever. This ain't the channel for that. Those people down in Kensington, Pennsylvania are drug addicts. I'll talk about that personally myself. I can't get away from the fact that there's a subgroup of blacks and Latinos. They're theoretical thespians. That's the only thing they entitle themselves to being is they have theories about things. They talk about things that they have no idea about. And then they contemplate and put all these things together, bunch their own esoterical ideas, their own individual belief systems. And many times they're very, what's the word I'm looking for here? Not only esoteric, but spiritual. That's what the word I'm looking for. And I have no problem with spirituality. It's when you try to use the name of God and you use the name of God after you've done things that are against tenets and scriptures in the Bible. That's what I have a problem with. It's like I believe in God, but sure I stole $50 from that motherfucker. You know? Or what the tenets in the Bible and the Ten Commandments is thou shalt not steal. You see what I mean? So you have a lot of people that they'll raise issues or bring up issues or whatever. And I believe for the past couple of days, because word gets around, but don't make no mistake about it. At this point, everybody knows or has a hint of who I am here on YouTube. So there's no lie about that. But, and that's not a cocky statement. It's for real. I've been here too long now. So what happens is you get the followers of these people and what they believe or whatever the case may be. In this case, it's because of some material that's laying around and it's been duplicated or whatever the case may be. And some people are upset about that, but what they really have to do is be intelligent enough to dig in, like a couple other people have said, and really listen to what I was saying. I give warnings and heeds to people because I know how these streets go. If many people remember, since we're talking about it, it was me, myself, on one of my casts here. I forgot which one it is. I got to go through and look at it. But I said at the time, and this was right after that Surviving Jaguar Right thing came out, we just go talk about it. I said at the time, I said, yo, she needs to go sit down for a year. And y'all notice that's exactly what she did. She went and sat down for a year. And when she came back, I said, you'll be more popular than ever. Now that's documented what I said. And anybody that was with me at that time heard me say that in that live. Not one time, not two times, but 3 times I reiterated. I didn't make a mention of it or a glimpse of it. I said it very fully so you could coherently hear what I said. Go sit down for a year. They'll forget all about you. And it worked. It worked. Evidently. She's back. She's a year later. She's more popular than ever. Congratulations. I also warned you again. Y'all give me a second here. Let me get this camera back on me. I also warned her again. Y'all don't know that. And I said right now is the time that you really need to watch who you deal with. Because this time, when they try to destroy you, they're going to completely destroy you. Ain't no coming back. And I try to place the question of what's more important to you, music or talking to these motherfuckers? Because these motherfuckers are not going to buy your music, not under the circumstances. And I was talking about the crowd that was in front of us. Oh, they're not going to buy your music. Didn't you see that the first time? The first time you had hundreds of thousands of views. And you were still throwing up posts trying to get people to buy the album. I remember that. If I'm correct, it might still be on your Instagram. So I'm not making anything up. Hold on, Nat. I'm going to read your comment. I'm not making anything up here. So what I'm finding is her crowd is coming to my page and they're indiscriminately picking videos. But more importantly, they're picking videos. I'll use the wrong words. I said indiscriminately. They're non-discriminated and targeted on what videos that they comment on. So one of the videos that they keep commenting on specifically, and that's what gives them away, is her videos. Now, it might also be someone that's trying to give me the interpretation that it's her or her followers, or it might be somebody that I've got about 3 or 4 of them that they keep making fake profiles that pretend like they like me on one attribute and then on another. I had somebody come in and they gave themselves away and I went directly and blocked them and I told you guys the story. They liked the post and then they went and flagged the post. So it would confuse me. But what confused them was they don't get the fact that the way I've got my YouTube hooked up, I get an email about everything. I've got 3 different apps that go side and side together for real vloggers. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And I want to give a shout out to y'all for giving me those 3 apps that the people I got the information from to assist me in whoever flags me or whatever the case may be. And there's 2 people, I let them continuously flag me because I want to see how far they're going to take it. Y'all be surprised who they are. You sure did called and told her to go sit down and she disappeared with the quickness. There's Miss Foster right there validating what I said. She's been with me since the beginning. So if anybody you can believe, it's her, Miss Tip, I don't know what happened to her. Kira been with me for a long time. There's a couple other ones. I can't name everybody like that, but they've been there. Annette, at least, has been there from the beginning when I started. So she knows what I'm talking about. I did say it. So I said this time, I saw how it was going to go. They don't want her back because they're interested in her music. They don't want her back because they're interested in her career and what they could do to aid in her career. They don't want her back, and you know, she's a Taurus like me, so we're coy to, and I know that's the wrong words, but we're coy and privy to a lot of things when they happen. Maybe she's coy and privy to what's, she's not coy, she's privy to what's happening. And that could be another alternative. There's many different alternatives, but the way it's being presented on my page from whoever's leaving those comments, and I'm gonna put the other one in the community section. So one's from last night, they're in the community section right now. It's hit my name and no, matter of fact, just hit my picture. It's gonna take you to the page. Scroll to the right to where it says community, and you'll see it right there. So I'm not making this up. And I've got probably like altogether 9 of them. I just posted that one because that one, that he decided to say the most and gave me 28 likes behind it. So I don't know if your advocacy is for supporting Jaguar, whatever, with you. I hope that you would do it wholeheartedly. But you're not going to make offense or dent my page in any regard by coming over and leaving comments or questioning silly stuff or making up conspiracy theories or talking about my Cash App equals to the day of the Lord. I had somebody write last night, if you guys are not familiar, somebody wrote in my comment section, and they wrote it very detailed, like they had known me for years. Jack is a different type of Taurus. She is manipulative. I don't know what she is. I don't want to be on camera saying what she is. But I will say this. Her supporters, I can validate for being on some F, type of stuff here. Like, it's crazy. And they mentioned that, I mean, like if you write on when you read it, you'll see what I'm talking about. They kept on reiterating Jaguar. But at the same time, I was giving a comparison and paying homage to her in the video. All thing you have to do is listen to the videos for yourself. Just listen to the video for yourself. It's the main headline video I have as promotion on my page after you click my name. So if you just click my name and you do that, you'll see what I'm talking about or whatever the case may be. And it's no surprise to you that, it is what it is. That's somebody trying to scare me. I live in a community where people think they're going to shut people up or whatever. You're never going to shut me up. I'm from the town. Get that shit off your head. But anyway, Jaguar, I have nothing against you. I have no problems with you. But your supporters, I want to issue just a little dial warning to you. I'm not the guy you want to do that with. You understand what I'm saying? Like, let me put it real clear. I'm not the guy you want to do that with. I will find out who you are, find out where you live. It's very easy just through a sequence of apps. And I'm coming to see you. If you live near especially, I'm coming to see you. I'm not one of these vloggers that gets up on here and says, huffing and puffing what I'm going to do and I'll blow you out. No, I'm coming to see you. And I've shown 3 people now on this little YouTube voyage you're on that I can find where you live at. I can find out where your kids go to school. I'm a different type of guy. I'm from the late 90s, early 2000s. We did things a little differently. So, I don't want to scare anybody or anything like that or whatever, but you won't come to my page unprovoked, bothering me for no reason. You do not know me. You understand? You don't know my journey. If you want to join in on the journey and support her, support me both, that's fine. I still support Jaguar, but there will be no advocacy of her on my page further moving on as far as what she's currently doing. When she circumnavigates from that, then of course I will help her out. She's part of the accolade. She's a musician. So I just want that to be clear. My intentions were not to embarrass you, neither, Jag, but to enlighten you that, some of the things you say, in that particular fashion with that particular subject was kind of suspect. That's all I wanted to say. I was rooting for Jag while she was gone, but she came back. Yeah, and a lot of people are saying that. I read the comments and things like that. I don't follow, but, you can't avoid it when it pops up. And, I take a quick glimpse for a couple minutes, see what's going on, whatever. I'm really doing that to try to protect her, whatever. And I know she got a husband and all that or whatever, but your husband's never been in this game. If anything he learned about the game, he learned it from you. You know what I mean? Is that a fair equation of things? I've been around everybody. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to make fun of the guy, but I'm just saying. In this particular, I think he was in the military. My application of military men on this page and military women as well goes deep. So, I respect him out of that. But at the same time, he knows nothing about this business. It's like my ex-girlfriend. She knew nothing about this business. You have to teach them. And when you teach them, it's not experience. You're just hearing what I'm saying on repeat. So what really the problem is the people that listen to Jag and other people, Keith Murray at it now, telling them, Keith, you need to stop that shit. I know that's your personality, but at the same time, y'all know Keith Murray, that the thing he went for jail out here, that happened in New Britain, right here in Connecticut. Where he went to jail for, it happened right here in Connecticut. He hit somebody with a chair on stage. I believe it was him. Yeah, it was Keith Murray. He went to jail for a couple of years out here in Connecticut for hit somebody with a chair. I think it was either New Britain or Danielson, one of the two. But I'm pretty sure it's New Britain, because Danielson don't usually have cops. Danielson, Connecticut is way out in the sticks, so I think it was there. But long story short, this tattling on people, if you want to call it, gossiping about people, whatever's run its course, guys. Some of y'all been tattling and gossiping on here on YouTube for the past 10 years. The police department should be in your bedrooms. I'm dead serious here. Have you ever heard some of the stuff these guys get online to talk about? Have you literally ever got online and listened to what some of these guys talk about? And then this one day, do this. Save a podcast that you listen to tonight, right? I'm gonna teach you guys something. Save a podcast that you watch live, right? And then wait 3 days later and watch that live again. And if you pick up different things or pick up lies or pick up inconsistencies or whatever, the first thing you should do, and if you find that 3 or 4 times, is unsubscribe from that channel. You should unsubscribe from that channel. They're hype machines, which most YouTubers are. We're all to a certain extent hype machines, but in various different ways. I do my hyping different. I'm trying to set a precedence where it's a new type of hype. At the beginning of it, you're always going to be kind of slow because other people ain't going to pick up on it, but they'll pick up on it sooner or later. The last thing I wanted to address, because it was in the reply, was my Cash App. Last night I had a 3-digit donation from a brother, which helped me out a lot. I used that to assist me in a bill today, actually, so that came right on time. Thank you. You know what I'm saying? And please support some more, because we got other bills we got to pay. So 20s, 50s, 10s, 5s, whatever you put into the Cash App is more than appreciated. But this is the thing. You're not going to shame me out of asking for donations, especially when I don't ask for donations very often on my page. The first time I mentioned it, when you go back to the rebroadcast, and that includes me too. When you go back to the rebroadcast, you'll hear me mention it one time. Cash App, $STRINGERBELL80. I mentioned it one time. And this whole broadcast, I've been going for 42 minutes now. Most people, they didn't mention theirs like 7 times by now. I mentioned mine once. So you're not going to shame me or confuse me with somebody that's going to be like, oh, well, we can shame about asking for donations because we picked this delegation of this false delegation of blacks and Latinos that believe they can force you to stop doing certain things for yourself, force you to stop posting certain things, force you to do it. They're electively their own little body of cancel culture within the black community and Latin community. Ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen. If I got this 5 supporters that are consistent, this whole thing will be about delivering stuff for them. And then whoever comes along behind that, it is what it is. But if I even got 5 supporters, which I truly do, if I even got 5 supporters that regularly donate to me, then those are my supporters, and this broadcast is for them. This broadcast is not for people that don't donate but got a hell of a lot to say and leaving comments and nasty attributions. And like I said, this whole little black and Latin delegation online that believes that they are now the sole rulers of people and what they put up on their broadcast, you're living in a fantasy world. Because ain't no real dude, ain't no real vlogger gonna allow a whole bunch of nobodies to tell them what they can and can't do, and if they can or can't promote their Cash App. Are you kidding me? Like, you know how communists, listen, my dad's Cuban. We know about communism, huh? So I'm telling you, for you to sit back and come in this communist form and tell people and elect these little delegations and tell people what they can and can't post, what they can and can't ask for. how long. I had somebody tell me what's the name, my stream was too long. I'm like, well, have you ever donated, sir? And who the fuck are you to tell me how long anything should be? I'm on here fighting for me, you know, and I'm consistent with my uploads and everything, regardless of the fact of the lack of donations or whatever. And I'm very real. You will not find a video of me complaining. You'll find a video of me encouraging. You never find a video of me complaining. Oh my God, these motherfuckers. It's gonna be that real person to come along, and they're gonna be like, yo, here you go, man. Listen, get your shit right. Here go 5-10 grand. Go do what you need to do. You know. Here go 5-10 grand. Here go 2 stacks. Here go 5K. Here go 10K. Go do what you got to do. That's what the real ones do. The suckers, they don't want you to get big because they don't want you to become bigger than them. This includes rappers and superstars as well. They don't want to give you a stack or whatever because of potentiality what you can do with that stack. And based on the ammo that I got, man, a lot of y'all know y'all in trouble. Because things that I've suggested to you that y'all should do. So a lot of y'all know y'all in trouble as far as economically anyway. I'll leave it at that. But you know what I know, and it's a secret that most of the public don't know. There's a couple of secrets that I know that most of the public don't know. I would never divulge them on here and give them away for free. I wouldn't even necessarily give them away as a price. You know what I mean? Which I think I've proven that too. So I'm a very loyal person at that too. Nobody at Bad Boy Entertainment will ever tell you I'm not loyal. Well, I'm very loyal. That's one of my faults. I'm very loyal to people. I'm very, very loyal. I guess I'm maybe like some of the last batch of guys that are like that. But that loyalty doesn't exist in, how can I say it, reciprocity when it comes to me a lot of times. And that's something I've had to live with. That's something I've had to learn how to now start embracing more so than I used to. It used to bother me. Now it don't bother me no more, you know? And it shouldn't bother you either. If somebody's not being loyal to you or someone's not being friendly as you think they should be or whatever the case may be, you know, it's up to you to get away from that, you know, and that's why I say wholeheartedly. And I don't mean individuals. I don't mean any personal things that I have going on or whatever the case may be either. So if anybody hears this on the rebroadcast, this is not particularly for you. But what I'm saying is if you're working with a group of individuals, what happens is at some point or another, this is why a lot of groups break up. At some point or another, what happens is somebody in the group, you know what I'm saying, says, oh man, you know, I think I deserve this, or, you know, I'll move this way, or, you know, whatever the case may be. And, you know, things happen. It is what it is. There's not much you can do about it in the long run. But what you can do is you go and create your own stuff. So just like we were taught, I'm now in the phase of trying to create my own, and I have people telling me all kinds of things. Oh, you know, there's truthfully a lot of people that don't want to see me succeed because of the pure simple fact of what I possibly could become, and that's a powerhouse. And I can assure you, anyone that helps out on that journey will be more than well compensated. And I have said these words maybe 4 or 5 times in my life, and each time that person has been well compensated. But I have to wait a little bit, but you're gonna be well compensated, trust me. I will make sure of it. But it's a problem when you have people that, one of the things that bothers me about YouTube is a lot of the followers and subscribers are hyped. You know, they're hyped because they look at certain things that they shouldn't be looking at instead of looking at what they really should be looking at. And they're looking at numbers, they're looking at people writing in the chat or whatever the case may be. I say the total opposite, and I'll prove to you my point. If you see a whole bunch of people and you see a live stream and a whole bunch of people writing in the chat, it's because they're not paying attention to whatever the broadcaster is talking about. That's for one. If you see people having their own side discussions, joking or whatever the case may be, or just reacting to certain little parts of the conversation or whatever, but the previous part of the conversation, you could see just by scrolling the live chat that their whole anticipation has been just throwing their own little quipes, throwing their own, you know, pages in there, giving suggestions, come over to my page, all kinds of little tricks that they do really because they don't respect you, you know? If you see a chat like that, you're confused because that's not support. That's a bunch of people going there because they know people show up there. That's like going to the club. You pick a certain club to go to because you know a lot of people show up at that club. You're not going to that club necessarily because it's the place to be. Because you ride past that same club during the daytime, you can look at that club and see it ain't about shit. You know what I mean? It's just a empty space. That's it. And you turn some lights on and you add some music, some smoke or whatever, and it becomes something else. Well, the smoke and mirrors that has become a lot of these podcasts, a lot of people believe in them. And they believe not in the actual statements being bought, but they believe more so in the crowds that show up there. That's what they're looking for. Same thing when they go to the club. They're looking for the crowd. They're not looking for the club. They're looking for the crowd. The crowd is what matters, because that's where you can show off. That's where you can carry on. That's where you can tell people, hey, I got this going on, blah, 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 blah. This is why they choose to go to a lot of these podcasts. And if I'm wrong, prove me wrong. Go to any live broadcast you see tonight and look in their chat room and tell me if you see the bulk of people in there that are not doing anything but throwing jokes, throwing their own quotes up, giving their own solutions to what the podcaster is talking about, etc., etc., etc. That's why when I get people, y'all think I'm mean for doing it. When I get people to come over, like somebody was just talking about Kensington, Pennsylvania in here, whatever, and all the dope heads, drug addicts and stuff they got down there. It looks like a zombie land. I'm gonna find something, push it up for y'all so y'all can see what I'm talking about. So y'all got my word on that. But you'll get people to come in like that and try to interrupt the conversation. And so once you get people like that, block them. Especially if you don't recognize their name or attachments with a Cash App or GoFundMe, PayPal, donation, nothing like that. Get rid of them. Because the only thing they're gonna do, they're not gonna feel entitled to do that every time that you go live, and it'll just get worse and worse and worse. I have 13,000 plus people that follow me now. I don't need your vote. I don't need your like if you're not a person that's consistently here all the time. So that's the one thing that the crowd gets fooled by, and I just hate it. The second thing they get fooled by is the donation process when they see these names. They all want to outdo the next one. Well, let me tell y'all a little trick. And any vlogger that's been on here for a long time, they're going to tell you. The reason I don't have super chats on is because of one. Google themselves take 30% out of the super chat. So no matter if you donate $10, they taking $3. If you donate $100, they taking $30. If you donate $1,000, they taking damn near $2. I think it's $2 and some change or something like that. You understand? Now, why would you want to donate to Google for? They're a multi-billion-dollar company. Why would you want them to have any part of your revenue? But people do it because they want to see themselves on screen. So even the folks that sit back and talk about, hey, well, the people got to do this and the people that and the people this, you're still buying into the mechanism at a 30% ratio voluntarily. So as much as you're trying to fight against your own oppression by supporting whoever said figure it is, and I'm not talking about anybody in particular, but you're also donating to the mechanism in multitudes. Because it's not just that man that's sitting, or that woman that's sitting up there preaching the tenets of oppression and everything like that. There's several of them. So if they got a super chat up there for all those multiplied by, let's say, 10, 20, 30 people, whatever, Google is getting 30% of that. You understand? That's a lot of bread. So at the year's end, we're talking about maybe an extra, I don't know, from the black community supporting that Hotep community, or if you want to say the preachers, the teachers, you probably got a setback of anywhere between, I don't know, $40 million, $60 million that y'all voluntarily basically donated to Google based on the process of that 30% margin they have to take out of everything in super chats. It's just not very bright economics, if you ask me. Not if you're trying to include yourself and be inclusive and helping the people more. That's not very good economics. That's backwards economics. Because for every dollar you give that one individual, Google has multiple individuals that utilize this free format. Let's not just get this confused. This free format, because it's free to get a YouTube account for right now. It's free. And they utilize it. And they have these super chat things up and all this stuff or whatever, which they have to be in a certain position to do that. You can't just start the super chats if y'all didn't know that. You can't just turn them on. You have to have a certain amount of followers or whatever. Like I have a whole bunch of things that I can do that any YouTuber that has under 10,000 subscribers can't do. Like I can make shorts. I can, what else can I do? I can make shorts, mini videos, stories, go live with other people. There's a lot of options that I can do having over 10,000 followers that you're not going to have under 10,000 followers. And YouTube doesn't make it exclusive to anybody that doesn't have more than 10,000 followers. There we go. Now, if you don't believe me, look it up for yourself. You hit a certain pennant when you get 10,000 or more subscribers. So that's just what it is. The next thing that a lot of people confuse on a lot of these YouTube broadcasts when they're donating or when they're supporting or whatever is the other thing they do is they confuse the amount of subscribers that people have. Now, here's a little secret. Now, any smart YouTuber is going to tell you this, and I just had this discussion the other day in the chat room with Red Supreme. Shout out to Red Supreme, Westside Red Supreme, I call him. Shout out to him. Think he's doing his part in the journey or whatever. I think he likes me. He didn't shout me out, I shout him out. So it's only right, you know what I mean? I always dig my people on the West Coast. My sister live on the West Coast, so I always support my people on the West Coast. I've been out there, got friends out there. You know what I mean? Shout out to 909. Shout out to TMZ. Y'all know what time it is. So I wanted to say this, right? And my sister's boyfriend, shout out to him. Or ex-boyfriend, sometimes boyfriend, not boyfriend, he from Compton. So shout out to David. David, if you hear this on the rebroadcast, shout out to you, man. I know he followed me, but I don't know if he go see this live right now. But yeah, my sister's boyfriend, he from Compton. I mean, they really from Compton, too. They ain't somebody saying they from Compton. They really from Compton. Talk like it, walk like it, move like it. Don't dress like it, but everything else. At the drop of a dime. All right, so this is the thing that gets confusing about these subscribers that a lot of people don't mention or whatever. You'll see somebody with 1 million followers. You'll see somebody with 100,000 followers. You'll see somebody with 50,000 followers, or like myself, headed towards 20,000 followers, right? And so within that, the mistake that a lot of people make is they don't see one thing, and that is this. And this includes the podcasters like myself and bloggers like myself. What they don't see is you're only most of the time seeing a third of those subscribers return or show up for your broadcast a lot of times. Sometimes it's 0.3, depending on what your conversations are about on live. Now, what I find is when you're talking about a superstar or when you're talking about somebody, you know, tragedy has hit them or whatever the case may be, YouTube tends to push that out a little bit more. If you're just talking about something personal, you're talking about something that people should get to know and recognize alongside with the other things that they think or presume or guess about or whatever that happens within not only the music industry, but also the media industry and system right here on YouTube. There's a lot of things I know about YouTube that I found that I know that work. You know what I'm saying? And it's really pitting against and trying to figure out the algorithm and how it works, when it works, what times it works. Sometimes some things need to be positioned at a certain time, and if they're not positioned at that certain time, they won't work for you, but you can always revisit it. You know, there's a lot of things I learned I ain't gonna tell people because you got to work for that. I spend hours sometimes researching things. That's how I know this. Most of the time, you only see a third of your subscribers because they want you to stay on for a long amount of time, or either have video after video after video after video on a daily basis. They want to basically make you into a machine until you cock out, you know what I mean? Y'all understand what I mean? It's like any other boss. Hey, look here, I heard this joke before, right? Give me a sec, I just dropped my cigarette. I heard this joke before. He said, look here, Jimmy, unless you're going to the funeral, I'm gonna need you here this Tuesday. Your father just died, you know what I mean? Unless you're going to the funeral, I'm gonna need you here this Tuesday. And that same boss will tell you, I need you to cover so-and-so shift tomorrow. That same boss will tell you, yo, I need you to come in this Thursday. I know it's Christmas, but I still need you to come in, you know? That same boss will tell you, hey, look here, I know you work 48 hours this week, but I need you to put in an extra 10. That's the same mechanism that works here with Google. The more work you put in, the more they'll allow subscribers of yours, the more they'll put out, advertisement, advertisements for you to triculate more and more into the algorithm. That's why a lot of vloggers, you'll see them, they'll go live for like 3, 4, 5, 6 hours because of that. They want you to work long. There's even a proposal that I've heard that YouTube is going to start allowing you to go a little bit longer with your lives for this very same purpose. It's all about advertising dollars. The longer you're on here, the more ads they can run or whatever. This is what I was trying to tell you. Joining them in their paid partnerships versus simply the people on this channel supporting me, which I don't see why not. You know what I mean? I don't flake around. I don't party hard. I don't go to clubs. I sit in that house most of the time and try to figure out ways to deliver better stuff to you guys. And a lot of people have been sitting back talking about, I had someone comment, yo, he want me to donate to him. He ain't even got no lighting set up. He ain't got no set or whatever. That's what she said or whatever. YouTube retracted the comment, of course, because it was nonsense. But let me address that if she sees this. I do have lighting. I do have dollies. I do have all kinds of different little things that I use to set up and record or whatever. I've used them to this day. I still have them in my house. Every now and then I go live in front of the lights and everything like that. But I choose not to because I like being out, for one. Two, I choose not to because this is how I started. I started just by doing them off the arm and off the cuffs like I'm doing right here. You know what I mean? And I think lastly is because of pure simple fact, before you demand of me to be doing anything or being anywhere, at least put $20, $30 in the Cash App at $STRINGERBELL80. Because unlike a lot of these vloggers, I move around, I take out places, I go everywhere. You know what I mean? And it's unappreciated, evidently. You know what I'm saying? And, I ain't got no problem with that. A lot of people that are the greats, they're unappreciated before they're appreciated. But I will say this. This channel gonna pop, and I remember when I was at 1,000+ viewers, I said that. I said, when I get up to like 10,000, don't come around then. I got up to 10,000. Now I'm screaming, when I get up to 50,000, don't come around then. I'll get 50,000, trust me. I think I'll be at 50,000 before March here. Then when I get up to 100,000, 200,000, 1 million, and they start doing the same thing to me, coming into the chat, hey man, I always supported you or whatever, I'm blocking you. I'm blocking you. I don't care if you got $1,000 to donate. I'm blocking you because you could have gave me that $1,000 from the beginning. You know how much it costs to live in the Northeast? I'm in a big money, B. You know what I'm saying? That's why I totally appreciate when I get 3-digit donations like I did last night with TMH Global. But let me get back to the premise here. The premise is this, and if you guys want to donate, it's $STRINGERBELL80. That's Stringer Bell 80 on Cash App. Also, there's a PayPal link in the description box. Also, a GoFundMe and also an Amazon wish list. And back to the premise here. Don't let the subscriber amount confuse you. They want you to put in more work here on YouTube so the advertisers will come around or whatever. This is why you need to predominantly depend on the support of the people versus when you partner with YouTube. When you partner with YouTube, you cannot say certain things. When you partner with YouTube, you cannot move certain ways. When you partner with YouTube, you got to be very careful of your material. You got to be very careful what you tell people, because if you tell people the wrong thing, and even if it's right, they're going to penalize you. Now, with the people, they'll penalize you too, but they'll tell you, they have a discussion with you. They ain't gonna take down your channel because they disagree with you. So it's more important, in my opinion, that you guys stop looking at the subscriber amount and equating that to dollars, because that's just not how it works. Another reason the way it doesn't work is the CPM. The CPM is basically a cash system and a ratio of how much you're paid per advertisement via each video that you have, and it comes in different increments depending on what your subject matter is for that particular video. So for some people, they have a higher CPM because they do videos about this, that, and other and the third. I'm not going to tell you what specific. And then some other people, they have a lower CPM because they do, you know what I mean, videos about this, that, and other and the third versus that, and those are the trending topics to talk about. As I told you guys last night, the most trending topics to talk about, if you want to pop real quick, is talking about relationships. It's anything that has to do with comedy. And I think the other thing would be in the hip-hop vlogger sphere, if you're black or Latino. If you set up a hip-hop vlog, start talking about your opinion on rappers or whatever, you sure to go, especially if you're talking real heinous, especially if you're talking real nasty, especially if you're talking real wild, real loose. You know what I mean? Yeah, they love that. That's what the culture loves. We've become a hip-hop criminal-obsessed society, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of scary, right? Your kids gonna be raised around a lot of these individuals that are violent, scary, trigger happy, whatever the case may be, right? But that's another conversation. Don't be confused by the amount of subscribers that you see on somebody's page, when in reality, YouTube is only allowing those people to get a third of their subscribers. Even on the likes reflect that. They'll get, on the likes section of it, they'll probably get maybe 40 to 50% of the likes versus the ratio of their subscribers. This is why this happens, because YouTube wants you to go longer. They want you to vlog longer. They want you to make more vlogs, because you are part of the mechanism and the machine with your free account. People always don't want to mention that. And everybody talking about their branding and all this. Say if you had to set up a business, right? YouTube is a business because you have to fill out W-4 forms once you do partner with them. But meaning you have to file out tax information to actually get your money. You have to pay money on that taxes yearly. As of January 1st of last year, 2022, y'all thank Joe Biden for that. He did it with PayPal as well. Those placements weren't in place beforehand. Joe Biden made sure to do that, try to grab some revenue for that COVID proposal that he had out. Hey, Joe Biden, anybody ever asked this question? I'm sorry to get off topic. What happened to the Build Back Better plan? What happened to that? That just kind of and disappeared, right? Never got brought back up or whatever the case may be. But that's what Joe Biden did. He put in legislation where now YouTube had to fill out W-4 forms. I had to fill out W-4 forms for PayPal, and when I was getting ready to use is it Vimo? I think it was the same thing with them. That's why I chose not to utilize them. I said, well, I don't need a new format to utilize for cash transactions, and they're doing the same thing. That adds up to a lot of different entities. It makes you look on paper like you're making way more money than you actually are because it's spread out through 3 different entities that do cash transactions. Cash App, PayPal, you know what I mean? So I didn't want to be in that particular fold. So I'll say to you this and ending this off. Those things that I mentioned, the subscriber rate is skewed. You're only seeing about 1/3 of your subscribers return and show up even on the rebroadcast. The super chat is skewed and you're confused. YouTube takes 30% of that, or rather Google takes 30% of each one of those transactions that happens. And I also left this out. You have 30 days until that transaction is finalized and you actually get paid on it. So that means anywhere between that 30-day time span, a person can retract their transaction, meaning they can decide, hey, I don't want to pay you now. I don't want to give you any money now. I know I donated $300 to you the other night, but you know what? I want to take it back. And this is what a lot of people do. They do it for to be enthralled and seeing their name up on the screen, because you got to realize a lot of times, a lot of these people, they've never had anything like that happen for them ever in their life. They've never been seeing their name on screen. They're never going to be famous. They're never going to be well recognized highly or whatever. So they live vicariously through vloggers such as myself and other people. It's a reality. And then the first thing, like I said, that a lot of people are the most confused about is that the participation in the chat room during these live broadcasts is actually people participating, when the reality is a lot of people in these chat rooms that are just having their own conversations. They're actually people that are in the chat rooms that hate some of these bloggers and come back to their channels, I don't know for what reason, and frequent their channels and watch what they're talking about, even take different specific points of what the person is talking about and add it into their own broadcast, which I've seen now happen with me. I'm going to say no less than 20-something plus times now. I heard one vlogger, and I don't care what you say, I know you follow me because I looked at YouTube Studio, so I know for a fact you follow me. All right? I know for a fact you follow me. And to validate it even more, I went to the other secondary app that I use, and here you were. So I'm like, okay, I got you. He took my words. This guy literally took my words and repackaged my words and put them out on his own broadcast. And I was like, are you serious right now? Like, are you really serious right now? And so I wrote something in his live chat, and he kept on acting like he was ignoring what I was saying, but then tried to respond to me subliminally. And I was like, you motherfucker. You know, like, you're a real piece of... And a lot of these guys, they do that. They grab people's language points and try to use them as their own. If I grab somebody's language point, if I grab somebody's joke, if I grab somebody, whatever, it's more respect to say, oh, yo, I got that from such and such, or I bought that from such and such. Anybody that watches my broadcast, you've heard me say that. I mean, I've mentioned it in this one. I said, like one gentleman says on a popular podcast, and then you give that person's name. In this case, it's Troy Terrain. He says, don't call me brother. I don't know you, sir, and I don't know if you believe in the same ideologies that I believe in. Don't call me brother yet. Get to know me at least at first. But these matter-of-factly people that are around now in today in society, they believe they know you because they see you on screen. And that's a dangerous, dangerous thing there. So like I said, when the 3 things that I said was, don't think that everybody's that's in these people's chat rooms Are people actually engaging in the content that's being presented? Because they're not. They're in there having their own conversations. They're in there joking. They're in there making fun of the podcaster. They're in there telling people and encouraging them not to donate to the podcast. I've seen it on other podcasters. I say, hey, that's the same thing that happens to me. People will be in your chat room encouraging people silently, or they'll go to the person's page as you're live broadcasting and they see you interacting with and tell them something. Oh, I don't like so-and-so because he said this, so don't donate to him. Or they'll make fun of you, talk about whatever. It takes a lot of courage to get on this mic and start talking. And especially being in-depth, being honest, and being full-fledged, just all around about. That's for any blogger. So when I see people doing it, I say, yo, you're a piece of crap. Or some people that are bigger bloggers, their whole pages are about clipping other people's stuff and making fun of those people on their own pages. And then monetizing the page over somebody else's material. This is where we at. So like I said, it's truly crabs in a bucket. You can believe what you want to believe, but that's what it is. It's crabs in a bucket mentality at its full finest, digitally, socially, and on every different platform you could think of. YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, IG, definitely, you'll see the same interpretation. It's like, I got the story. No, I got the story. No, I got the story. I got the story. I've seen people in people's live chats, honestly and truthfully, so much disagreeing with the live chatter that they're now starting to interact with the other live chatter subscribers and tell them, yo, we need to move away from this page. I saw that with my own two eyes. Somebody was advocating for people to unsubscribe to a certain blog. I ain't gonna say who this blog is, but it's a big blogger. And they'll even tell you the same thing because it was their page. I'm like, are you serious? You got people that are brown and black inside somebody else's podcast telling them, yo, don't donate to them. We need to unsubscribe to them. They don't know what they're talking about. And then if you look at that person's page, you'll find that they don't put in any work. Many of the times they don't have any uploads whatsoever. They're just like a monitoring page. That's all they do. They just go to people. They create an account or multiple accounts and go to different people's YouTubes and find out what they're saying, find out what they're doing, and then they'll repurpose it, what they're saying, what they're doing, and put it on a post on Instagram or put it on because they'll switch the format in which they're putting it on or whatever the case may be. And we all kind of do that. But when you're making fun of a person while they're blogging, while they're putting in work on a daily basis, and you're doing nothing, then I have nothing to say about that. If you respect somebody like that or even follow behind somebody like that, what does that say about you? We need to start digging into the personalities of some of these subscribers, some of these followers, or whatever. A lot of them hide that they're good people, and in reality, they're some of the worst people you ever meet in your life. A lot of them hide and act like they're friendly with you or whatever. Really, their whole intent is to demise you. A lot of them will act and pretend like they support you by giving monetary donations or whatever, but all in all, they're doing that just to follow you along till the moment is right. Till the moment is right. And when they find that moment, regardless if they financially supported you in the past or whatever the case may be, their whole empty thing is to destroy you from that point on. And that's what I've had. I said one thing that people didn't like that I said on here. Boom, turn around 2 months later and it comes true. And now everybody has it on the topic of their lips on every podcast whatsoever. I was one of the first people that said there is some consistency with blacks and Latinos jumping online and they consistently want to bash each other. I was one of the first people that said that. And because of that statement I said, I had women and men, oh, we ain't supporting him no more. We ain't going back there no more. But now if you go online, you are seeing thousands, if not hundreds, thousands of different bloggers saying the same thing. I'm hearing people that are of high credibility within these communities that are saying the exact same thing. So is it my fault that it took you 6, 7, 8 months to catch up on it? Or is it my fault because I recognized it quickly and adhere to it? Listen, I'm a New York tri-state boy, New England boy. You know what I'm saying? So I know how to pick up on something real quick when I see it. You know? You got no choice up here. You have to pick up on things quick when you see it. So when I see some chuck, that's what it is really. When I see some chuck being displayed, of course I'm going to say something. Of course I'm going to let y'all know. Of course I'm going to alert y'all. If it was a snake, it would have bit you. If it was a snake, it would have bit you. I'm going to conclude this out. Next thing, and I said just to reiterate, don't be fooled by these super chats. A lot of these people send $300, $500, $1,000 donations. Y'all even heard Kevin Samuels mention this, and I saw it recently, and somebody had a clip up. I said the same damn thing. Google takes 30% of the donations when you use the super chats versus you just hopping offline for about, and I'm saying this for all vloggers, so you do this for all vloggers, versus you hopping offline, coming back online, back to the podcast or whatever, and donating to that person directly through PayPal or directly through Cash App. If you do not choose to do that, please understand the reality. Google is taking 30% of that. That is just one personality they're doing that for. There are other personalities within your belief system, within your following system, subscriber system, whatever you want to say, that there's multitudes of these men that are also using the super chats. Google is taking 30% from them too. So now you're talking about, let's say the minimum, you're talking about 10 people, right? You're talking about 10 individuals that Google is taking, I'm picking something up. Google is taking 30% from. So let's just say 10 people, right? Out of those 10 people, at 30% that Google's taking, how much do you think that adds up to yearly? Yearly. And what you'll find is at that point, it's equaling up to roughly, this with those 10 people, anywhere between $8 to $10 million in revenue that they took away from you on money that you donated. Now, that's just with 10 people on a yearly basis. And I'm talking about if you gave an average donation of, let's say, 20, because the average donator gives literally like 10, 20 times a year, somewhere around there, about 10 to 20 times a year, you know what I mean? So you have to start taking advantage of this, guys. Only thing you have to do is hop off right now, and I'm talking about not just myself at Cash App, $STRINGERBELL80, that's Stringer Bell 80 on Cash App. Not just myself. I'm going to catch you later. Enjoy your evening. You too. It's not just me, but it's other vloggers. If you want them to be successful, if you want them to move ahead, if you want them to be the people and the champions, it don't matter if it's Umar. I'm saying this for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't disagree with everything Umar says. I'm saying this for Tariq Nasheed. I'm saying this for anybody that's in the system of advocacy for the people, the culture, or whatever that's around. I mean specifically Black and Latin folks. If you want these people to really be champions or whatever, when you donate to them, stop using super chats because you want to see your name up on the what's the name. And I'm going to tell you, bloggers, what you need to implement a system is what I do. What you need to do is gather all the names that donated, and you guys say in the chat room, hey, I just donated or whatever. And look at your Cash App. Your Cash App will tell you who donated or whatever. Tell those people to make sure inclusive in the Cash App, because sometimes your Cash App name is different than actually your screen name. Put your screen name in a note when you send that freaking what's the name. You'll get recognized right then. And it's better to hear the host say your name and have a video and concentration on it than it is just a little 5 seconds and somebody's got to go back and find the time stamp and all that or whatever when you donated in the video. So you can show your little friends, come on, let's keep it real. So you can show your little friends, look, I donated such and such and so and so. You know what I mean? That's really what it's about. And then you turn around and you cancel the transaction, because you got 30 days to keep the transaction open. It takes 30 days for it to process, and on the 25th of each month, that's when Google sends you out a check for what you made here on YouTube. Every month, same thing. Doesn't matter if you made $200 or $2,000. See what I'm saying? So guys, just make sure that you start opting out this year, because you're making Google even more rich and heading them into being a trillionaire status. And once again, there will be another industry that you help fund based on your good intentions, but bad judgment system. You can't fight against a system that you're totally and continuously empowering monetarily, and you now have word and you're pivot to it, and you still continue doing the same thing. At that point, you're just an idiot, and you're attributing to your own oppression and further oppression. So I'll say once again, Google takes 30% of those super chats. You donate somebody $100, they're only getting around about $72 to $73. You donate somebody $10, they're only getting about $7.25. See how that works? So start getting a little bit more financially adhered to how things actually translate in the form of money, especially when it comes to the digital currency, because that's what it is. It's digital currency that's turned into physical currency. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about was the subscriber amount, and I'll leave that alone after this. Stop being fooled because you see somebody with 1 million subscribers or whatever the case may be, when YouTube only allows it a whole certain time. And I think it's so that servers won't shut down. That's what I really think it is. It's so that servers won't shut down. Because they have over 1 billion visitors a day. So if you had if you had 1 million people on one person's stream, I could see why it would crash. I could see why it would crash down and break apart. You know what I'm saying? So they have to allow it to just be a certain amount of subscribers based on what they have people subscribing at the time. So meaning like if there's 10 vloggers blogging at the same time or whatever, you can only give based on the servers and how they're used. You can only have like 3. And I know this from digital media, so I know this is a fact. They got servers they'll have servers where it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 servers working on one room. So I can imagine what Google has. Google has to have hundreds, if not thousands, of different servers working continuously to keep the whole thing, going about. It's all about servers. Servers deliver to you and give you the option to have your subscribers coming to your page, get your alerts out. You know what I mean? And to stabilize YouTube as a app itself, you have to have a dozen servers. If any of you guys have computers in your home or whatever the case may be, that big tower that you used to have for the home computer, that's a server. Now they reduced them down to being smaller, but that's what it is. It's a server. And it actually constitutes you being able to stream or whatever the case else may be and having to do multiple platforms. So if you got 3 or 4 people in a house and they all want to stream at the same time, that server allows them to do that unilaterally, so it's no interruption, meaning no interruption on the bandwidth, no interruption such and such and such, if y'all didn't know. At any given time, most YouTubers only get about 30%, about a third of their subscribers, maybe a fourth if you've been I don't know, if you've been streaming, say, like more than an hour and a half. And the whole interpretation is to keep you online. Google wants to keep you online as long as they possibly can. You're a workhorse. And the more that you stay online, the more money you're rewarded. That's a theory anyway, but it really doesn't translate like that based on whatever your particular CPM is. That means how much money you actually incur for advertisers, things like that per video. So don't be fooled by subscribers, because subscribers at any given time, you got to really just look at how many people are in the chat and how many people are actually, not even in the chat, but how many people they have tuning in on the live. So that's really will tell you right there. So it's like, for example, there's one vlog I know that's got a million subscribers, yet there was only 20,000 people on his live. There's other people that have 100,000 subscribers, but there's only 7,000 people on their live. And I think that's one of the things YouTube needs to do, is start allowing us to alert our own subscribers, but they will never do that because of the fear that the servers will shut down. So if y'all didn't never know, now you know. Anyway, guys, I'm out of here. I just wanted to give y'all a shout, do my diligence, and make sure I go live with y'all for y'all be trying. See there, you got a donation. Now you don't want to talk to us no more and all that crazy crap. No, I do this every day. This is what we do. So make sure you guys hit up the Cash App, $STRINGERBELL 80. That's Stringer Bell 80 on Cash App. And like I said, there's also a PayPal link in the description box if you don't have Cash App, don't want to get the application itself. Also, there's a GoFundMe in there, which I'm going to update. I'm going to change that. We're on something else now with the GoFundMe thing. I think that's something of old now. So I'm going to change that up and actually issue y'all a new one. We're going to keep that one alive, but I'm going to issue you guys a new one. Also, the other thing that I wanted to say was this, that the Amazon wish list, I am going to check that when I get in the house. I'm actually going to call them. If I don't call them today, I will call them tomorrow and get that fixed and get that together, whatever, because that's a problem for me right now too. Because there's a lot of people that want to purchase things from me, and they're telling me that Yahoo is telling them, not Yahoo, Amazon is owned by Google, so I'm right. Google is telling them something or whatever, because that's who you're talking to. When you talk to the PayPal people, and you talk to the Amazon people, well, not Jeff Bezos isn't Google, my fault. When you talk to PayPal people, it's Google, my fault. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Make sure y'all hit up the Cash App, show me some love, 10s, 20s, anything to do. I appreciate y'all. We ain't begging, we just asking for support. I'll talk to you guys later.